interesting take from the devs is they're giving this a shot. Characters level 14 and under placed in a separate matching pool. If any member of a party is 15 or above, the entire party is placed in the level 15 matching pool. Level requirement to sign up for the trading post is also increased from level 10 to level 15, which is also a very interesting change. Again, probably to combat RMT. But I kind of like this in the sense that there's going to be an awful lot of us that are going to start like level 1 characters and just start running it for the sake of like trying to see what kind of come up you can get for the first 15 levels of gameplay, how much money you could make or how much available stuff you have to sell. Fixed an issue where Dark Swarm was mostly ending up in the center. I guess like they had it down here where most circles end in the central region of the maps, resulting in many battles concentrated in a few repetitive modules. So this is interesting because this means that the final circle would end up being around like the edges of the map more often. I think that's good. I think that's a good thing. Wizards Invisibility duration got buffed for an extra second, which is good. I didn't really care so much about the 3-second invis. But the extra second, I mean, whatever. Wizards will take a buff. You know, they needed to get buffed anyway, right? Right? They needed a buff. They needed a buff anyway, right? Right? Wizards haste duration has been increased from 6 to 8 seconds. So this is another interesting take, because this would be the equivalent of like 2 or 3 casts depending on what you're doing. Magic missiles, you'd probably be able to get 2 of them off before the haste ran out. For everybody else, you know, it's an extra couple of seconds is kind of cool. It definitely helps Wizards on like the solo side, like self buff wise. I can see what they're trying to put it in between somewhere where like haste still feels like it's worth bringing, because there's a lot of people were thinking that like the 6-second haste wasn't enough, like it wasn't worth bringing, but maybe like an 8-second one with will increasing buff duration and stuff, maybe you'd see like 10 seconds out of that, which probably is pretty good. Added an option to control whether items in the following utility slots are automatically placed in your hand after an item is used. So this is a good one too, actually. I really like this change a lot. Because you drink a potion, like let's say you're playing a rogue, right? You drink a potion and it happens to be like the slot right before your torch. You pop a potion and then all of a sudden your torch comes out and you get to light up this area around you when you might be trying to be a little bit more stealthy. So I like that you have the ability to maybe deselect that on the checkbox so that you don't automatically switch to like the next item on your belt, right? Happens a lot, yeah? So I like this. I like this. It's a good suggestion. Whoever made that suggestion, pretty smart. Pretty smart fella. The separate matching pool is wild. That's going to be crazy. And you know, like, I don't even have to look at it. You know that in general chat, there's people that are going to be complaining about how it's just going to be a bunch of experienced guys running around in low-level Timmy gear, trying to roll lobbies or whatever. And that, you know, could be true. Could be true. Level 15 trading post, like, why? Because, again, they're trying to curb people doing RMT shit. And it's really, you can get to level 10 pretty fast. Level 15 takes a little bit longer. So they're trying to delay that. Plus, like, I think it also does a little bit of a psychological shift for people if they're like on the newer side where they're trying to learn how to play the game. Instead of running off to the trading post at level 10 to get themselves like all crazily outfitted, they could just like work through trying to play through the game loop, die a bunch, kind of suffer through it, learn their way through the game instead of running off and buying a bunch of gear if they like ratted themselves to level 10. Because like if you have experience, even a small amount of experience playing a rogue or whatever, you can loot everything, stay super evasive, and by the time you're level 10, you have like 5,000 gold worth of shit. If you just like pure rat go base kit, you know. So I think by pushing it to level 15, you're like obviously the rat gaming like rogue player will probably have even more money available like to sell at that point, but for the purely like new player, I think it forces them to have to deal with like the way that the game is played a little bit more. And the guys that are trying to do the RMT shit and the spam bots and all that other stuff, pushing them to level 15 pushes them to have to take a little bit longer, maybe gets them detected a little bit quicker. They don't have so many spam bots like hanging out in trade chat and shit. And it doesn't take that long to get to level 15 anyway. I mean, if you have friends, it doesn't really matter because you could just have your buddies buy you some shit if they're good at the game or whatever and they're carrying. You could just have them buy you gear and bring it in and drop it for you, you know? Because if you're in a level 15 party, if your buddy's 15 plus, then you would just go in with them. It's another way to keep the lobbies like vanilla too. Because if you're 14 and under, being put in a separate queue, you know what I'm saying? Like the gear that's at risk is the gear that you're having to deal with everybody else. You don't have like a level 15 plus guy gear feeding a low level character and carrying them in a lobby because they're going to be with all the other higher level chads too. You know what I'm saying? So if you're under level 14, you don't have access to the market, you're forced into like a vanilla pool of gamers who don't really have much gear. They might have a couple of 2-3 greens. Honestly, that's probably going to be more fun of a gaming experience overall versus like anything else that you could be doing at the time. If you were running 3s, it would probably be like a pretty rewarding experience because you're not going to run into guys that have like 7 purples on, steamrolling everyone, you know? Do you feel like they'll be making major changes to try and finish Warlock or release Druid after the ranked season? I mean, they say that they already said that they're working on like a Bard rework and they're working on releasing Warlock. So I don't know, probably another month or two. I give them a month. It's coming. I kind of like low key. I kind of dig the level 14 and under lobby thing. I kind of dig it. If only because it forces people to have to like play the game. It'll probably be like the purest form of Dark and Darker that we have. Like from a competitive edge, it'll probably feel like the most competitive form of Dark and Darker we have right now. You won't be able to go into high roller, right? It's just going to be normal lobbies. But like, I look at it like this, dude. I want like the challenge mode where I'm gaming with a couple of homies to see how many runs it would take us to be able to get a lich kill. From like everybody starts at level 1, we all got grays on. We can only loot what we find. How many runs does it take before we could like drop the lich? You know what I mean? I want that shit. I want to see like a 3-man group try to loot up a couple of maps, and by the time that they're like level 5, they get a lich kill. Like that would be like super fucking fun for me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like a Lupo Challenge D&D edition, you know? Hardcore version of D&D with no market. Yeah. Be dope but hard. Yeah, it would be. But I mean, like, that's kind of like what they're forcing you into doing. Like, you know, you only get 3 perks, not 4. You have to do it under level 14, you know? I think it would be kind of cool. When do you think they limit the amount of heals people can bring in? I mean, they already kind of did that. There's already a limit to it. You can't take in more than 3 of any one quality of potion. New Q could also just be people deleting their characters for a fresh start. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, Buddha. I mean, I'm going to do that myself. Are you kidding? I'll do that. But I mean, like, just because you're playing on a low level character shouldn't eliminate the ability for people to do that with experience, you know? That's how you learn the fastest anyway. If somebody's new to the game, they would want to play against people that are halfway decent. You don't want to like have Care Bear lobbies and then all of a sudden at 15 you get thrown into the deep end. You know what I mean? Living loop of D&D is still rather short, so it's the perfect time to try shit. Yeah, completely agree. Do you need good greens to beat the Lich? I mean, you don't need them. The Lich fight is all about positioning. Honestly, I think a coordinated group, if you could get your hands, like if a cleric makes it a lot easier. If you could get a cleric with a halfway decent, like just a spell book, like a gray spell book, just so that they could AoE the undead guys and you could get them down quick, you could probably knock them out pretty fast. A really good warlock on that fight could damn near solo it in grays with a gray spellbook. I think if they had like even like +2 healing over time or something, they could probably make it work.